Hi, you are watching Revenge of Reddit. I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this. I've always read these kinds of posts on Reddit. You know, the caught my girlfriend cheating type. And thought, nah, I'd see it coming. Turns out you never do. My name's Ryan. I'm 29. I live in Texas. Been dating this girl, Lena, for almost 3 years. She was the kind of person that made you believe in calm. Like, she'd walk into a room, and suddenly everything felt slower, quieter, easier. Or at least, that's how I used to see her. We met at a friend's barbecue. She was sitting on a cooler, drinking a Corona, wearing this stupid floppy hat that looked too big for her head. She laughed at my jokes, which doesn't happen often. And when I offered to get her another beer, she said, "Only if you get one too. I don't drink alone." That line stuck with me. 3 years later, I realized she'd been drinking alone for months. Anyway, this whole thing happened about 6 months ago. I've been sitting on it since then, trying to decide whether to tell the full story. It's one of those things that still wakes me up at night. Not the betrayal itself, but how I found out. It all started with me throwing a party. I had just gotten promoted at work, nothing huge, but enough to celebrate. I invited a bunch of friends, coworkers, neighbors, just a regular Saturday night thing. Lena was excited about it. She loves hosting. She kept talking about how we should get those cute string lights for the backyard, and she spent all Friday baking little appetizers from Pinterest. She was perfect, sweet, thoughtful. The kind of woman you think you're lucky to have. That night, people started arriving around 7. The grill was going, music was playing, beers were cold. It was perfect. Everyone kept saying how Lena had outdone herself. She looked amazing, too. A blue sundress, hair tied up, laughing with my coworkers like she'd known them for years. I was proud of her, proud of us. Around 9, the party was in full swing. People were drinking, dancing, making dumb jokes. I was playing host, making sure everyone had what they needed. At one point, I noticed Lena was gone. I figured she went inside to grab something, but 10 minutes later, she still wasn't back. I checked the kitchen, empty. Bathroom, empty. Then I remembered. Her phone had been blowing up earlier. She said it was her friend Maya, but when I glanced at the screen once, I saw a man's name. Eli. She quickly put the phone down and laughed it off. "It's just a coworker," she said. Back then, I believed her. But at that moment, when she was nowhere to be found, something in my gut twisted. You know that sick feeling where your body knows before your brain catches up. That's what it was. I decided to look upstairs. Now, for context, we live in a 2-story house. Our bedroom is at the end of the hallway, and the guest room is across from it. As I got to the top of the stairs, I heard noises. Not the kind of noises you want to hear at your own party. At first, I thought maybe someone was sick or making out. But then I heard her laugh, that soft, breathy laugh that I'd heard 1,000 times, and a man's voice, deep, low, saying her name. My stomach dropped. I walked down the hall quietly, like my body didn't want to believe what my mind already knew. The door to our bedroom was half closed. Light spilled through the crack. I pushed it open, and I swear, time stopped. There she was. Lena, half naked, with Eli, the same guy whose name I'd seen on her phone, the coworker. They froze when they saw me. She gasped, tried to grab the blanket. He just stood there, shirtless, like a deer in headlights. I didn't say anything at first. I just stared. My body went numb. Lena stammered something like, "Ryan, I can explain." But I laughed. I don't even know why. It wasn't funny, but something inside me just cracked. I said, "Explain what?" That my girlfriend is fing another guy while her boyfriend's guests are downstairs eating her spinach dip? She started crying. He tried to talk, something about it being a mistake. And that's when I lost it. I told him to get out. Not yelled, just told him, like I was done being human for a second. He grabbed his shirt and ran downstairs, probably right past everyone. Lena tried to come closer, reaching for me, crying harder. I stepped back. I remember every detail. Her shaking hands, her mascara running, her whispering, "I'm sorry," over and over, like it would change anything. Then something inside me flipped. I walked downstairs, grabbed another beer, and just went back to the party. People were laughing, drinking, having fun, completely unaware of the hurricane upstairs. I joined them. I smiled. I joked. I acted like nothing happened. 5 minutes later, Lena came down. She looked pale, eyes red, but she was trying to play it off. "Just not feeling great," she told people. I said, "Yeah, maybe too much wine." Everyone laughed. Inside, I was burning. The rest of the night was a blur. People left around midnight, and I helped them out with hugs and smiles like I hadn't just watched my life fall apart. When the last guest left, I closed the door, turned around, and she was standing there, quiet, shaking. "Please," she said, "can we talk?" I said nothing, just walked past her, straight to bed. I didn't even sleep. I just stared at the ceiling all night, listening to her cry downstairs. The next morning, she tried again. "It was a mistake," she said. "It didn't mean anything." I asked, "How long?" She froze, then whispered, "A few months." That was it. No dramatic screaming, no throwing things. Just silence, the kind of silence that feels heavier than any words. She packed a bag that afternoon and left. But that wasn't the end. Because 2 weeks later, after she was gone, after I'd told my family, after I'd started trying to move on, I found something. Something that made me realize that catching them at the party wasn't even the worst part. 2 weeks after the party, I thought I'd already been through the worst of it. The shock, the heartbreak, the endless nights staring at the ceiling, replaying every little moment I'd missed. But I was wrong. See, when someone betrays you, your mind doesn't stop when they're gone. You start rewinding everything. Every text, every late night, every weird excuse, trying to find the pattern, trying to figure out when exactly you became the fool. Lena had moved out the day after I caught her. She went to stay with a friend, which I later realized was just Eli. I didn't block her. I didn't yell or send some long emotional text. I just went silent. I figured silence would hurt her more than any words could. For 2 weeks I went through the motions: work, gym, eat, sleep. Friends kept checking on me, but I'd brush it off. I'm fine. Truth is, I wasn't. My house felt haunted. Every corner still smelled like her perfume, and every drawer I opened seemed to have something of hers hiding in it. A hair tie, a bobby pin, an earring. Ghosts of a life that wasn't real anymore. Then one Saturday, I decided to finally clean the house. Really clean it. I started from the top floor, stripping the bed, emptying closets, throwing things into trash bags like I was trying to erase her existence. When I got to the living room, I opened the cabinet under the TV. That's when I saw it. Her old external hard drive. Lena was a photographer. She used to shoot weddings and engagement sessions, so she had terabytes of photos backed up everywhere. I didn't think much of it, but part of me wondered if there were pictures from the party. I don't know why, maybe curiosity. So I plugged it into my laptop. At first it was normal stuff: client folders, Lightroom catalogs, vacation pictures. Then I noticed a folder titled June. No last names, no event tags, just June. I opened it. Inside were hundreds of photos, not professional ones, just personal. And in between random selfies and cat pictures there were others. Photos of her and Eli. At restaurants, in our living room, at our kitchen table. One even in my car. My hands went cold. I kept scrolling, each image worse than the last. There was one where she was wearing my t-shirt, sitting on his lap, both laughing like they didn't have a care in the world. Another one in our bed. But the worst one, the one that broke me, wasn't sexual. It was just the two of them cooking together. She was stirring something on the stove. He was hugging her from behind, and she was smiling. The same smile she used to give me. It wasn't about sex anymore. It was about intimacy. About the quiet moments she'd stolen from me and given to someone else. I sat there for maybe an hour, just staring at the screen. Then I did something I didn't plan. I started copying everything. Every photo, every video, every piece of proof. I didn't know why yet, just instinct. The next morning I made a burner Instagram account. I followed Eli. His profile was public. That's when I saw it. Photos of him and Lena together. He'd been posting them for weeks, but she'd blocked me, so I never saw them. Comments full of hearts. Captions like, "Found my peace." Peace? You find peace by destroying someone else's life? That's when the idea started forming. I didn't want revenge at first. I just wanted to disappear, to be done. But seeing them flaunt it like it was some fairy tale romance. That flipped a switch. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to fight. I was going to let them burn themselves. A week later, Lena texted me. "Hey, can we talk?" I ignored it. Then she texted again. "Please, it's important." Finally, I replied, "Come by tomorrow." Noon. She showed up right on time, looking nervous but polished, makeup done, hair tied neatly, like she wanted to look composed. I noticed she was wearing the same necklace I'd bought her for our first anniversary. She sat down, clasped her hands, and said, "I just wanted to apologize again. I know I hurt you. I made a huge mistake." I didn't say a word, just stared at her. Then she said something that almost made me laugh. "Eli and we're trying to make things work. I just wanted to be honest with you about it." Honest. Now she wanted to be honest. I nodded slowly. "Good for you," I said. She looked surprised. "You're not mad?" "Oh, I'm furious," I said, "but not at you anymore." She frowned. "What do you mean?" I reached for my laptop on the table, opened the June folder, and turned it toward her. Her face went pale. "I found your hard drive," I said. She stared at the screen, her eyes darting from one photo to another, like she couldn't decide which one was worse. "You had no right," she started, but I cut her off. "No right?" "Lena, you took these in my house, on my couch. You brought him into my bed, and you're telling me about rights?" She looked down, silent. Then I said it. "You're both going to regret this." Her head snapped up. "What are you going to do?" I smiled. Not the kind of smile you give out of happiness, but the kind that comes from clarity. "Nothing illegal," I said. "Just honest." And I meant it. Over the next week, I put together something. See, Lena's photography business relied heavily on reputation, clients, reviews, social media presence. She built her brand around being the wholesome, family-oriented photographer who captures love. I built a website, a small one, a clone of her portfolio, but with extras. On the homepage was her smiling face. Below that, a headline, "Behind the Lens, the true story of a photographer's affair." Then came the pictures. Not explicit ones, just the ones that showed what she really was. Her laughing in our kitchen, her with Eli in my car. The captions, simple timestamps and locations. No commentary, no insults, just facts. At the bottom, I wrote, "When you hire someone to capture your love story, make sure they understand what love actually means. Then I sent the anonymous link to a few local Facebook groups, tagged her business page, and logged off. Within 2 hours, her page was flooded. Clients canceling shoots, people commenting things like, "Wow, never thought you'd do something like this," and "This is disgusting." By the next morning, her business Instagram was gone. Eli, he didn't fare much better. Turns out he had a girlfriend too. She found the site. She left him that same night. For a moment I felt nothing. Not victory, not guilt. Just quiet. A week later, Lena texted me again. "Why would you do this to me?" I replied. "I didn't do anything." "You did." Then I blocked her number. People might say revenge doesn't heal you, and they're right, it doesn't. But it does something else. It gives you closure. It puts the pieces back in your hands, even if they're broken. After that, I deleted the site. It had done its job. I didn't want to be cruel, just honest. But the story didn't end there. Because about a month later, I got an email from an unknown address. No subject line, just one sentence. "You should check who Eli's been texting lately." At first, I ignored it, but curiosity got the better of me. I used one of those online lookup tools, typed in his number, and sure enough, it linked to a new social media profile. A burner account. Guess who it was messaging? Lena's best friend. When I found out Eli was texting Lena's best friend, I didn't even feel shocked anymore. It was almost predictable. Like watching a bad movie where you already know the ending but can't stop staring at the train wreck. Her best friend's name was Tora. She'd been around since the beginning. Blonde, loud, always the life of the party. I never really liked her, but Lena swore Tora was harmless. Apparently, not that harmless. I sat there that night scrolling through Eli's burner account, seeing the messages he'd sent her. Screenshots, photos, little inside jokes. Stuff that made it very obvious they weren't just talking. And judging by the timestamps, it had been going on while he was still with Lena. The irony wasn't lost on me. The cheater got cheated on, by her own best friend. I didn't reach out. I didn't send it to Lena. I just sat there, sipping whiskey, staring at the messages and feeling this strange mix of pity and relief. Then, 3 days later, Lena showed up at my door. It was a Sunday morning. I just made coffee, and there was a knock, soft, hesitant. When I opened it, she was standing there, looking like she hadn't slept in days, eyes swollen, clothes wrinkled, makeup smudged. "Ryan," she said quietly, "please. Can I come in?" Part of me wanted to slam the door right then, but something, maybe curiosity, made me step aside. She walked in slowly, like she was entering a church. We sat down at the kitchen table, the same one she'd once sat at laughing with him. She took a deep breath. "I know I don't deserve your time," she said, "but I need to tell you something." I didn't answer, just let her talk. She started crying before she even got the words out. "He cheated on me," she said. "With Tara." I just stared at her. She kept talking, fast, rambling. Apparently Tara had been comforting Eli after the fallout with me. One thing led to another. And, yeah, classic. I should have felt satisfaction. I should have said something cruel like, "Guess you got what you deserved." But instead, all I felt was tired. Tired of her voice, tired of the drama, tired of caring. She wiped her eyes and whispered, "I don't know why I'm telling you this. I don't have anyone else to talk to." That hit me harder than I expected, because once upon a time I was that person for her. And now, she was sitting across from me, broken, and it wasn't my job to fix her anymore. She looked around the house, her eyes lingering on the walls, the photos, the furniture. "You changed things," she said softly. Yeah, I said. Needed to. She smiled weakly. Looks good. We sat in silence for a minute. Then she asked, do you ever think about us? I took a long sip of coffee before answering. Not anymore. She nodded, trying to hold back tears. I ruined everything, didn't I? Yeah, I said. You did. There was no anger in my voice, just truth. She got up slowly, looked at me one last time and said, I'm sorry, Ryan. I really am. I didn't say goodbye. I didn't need to. She walked out, and that was the last time I saw her in person. About a month later, I got an email from a former coworker of hers, someone who'd also been at that infamous party. The subject line said, you should see this. It was a screenshot from Reddit. Someone, using a throwaway account, had posted an R true off my chest about losing everything because of a stupid mistake. The post read like a confession. It was clearly from her. She described how she'd cheated on a guy who never deserved it, how she'd been caught in the worst way possible, and how she'd lost her business, her reputation, and herself. The comments were brutal. People called her every name in the book. Some offered sympathy. But the part that stood out to me was the last line of her post. If he ever reads this, I just want to say, I hope he finds peace. I don't deserve forgiveness, but I hope he's happy. For a long time, I didn't know how to feel about that. Was it genuine? Manipulative? Regretful? Maybe all of it. But for the first time in months, I didn't feel angry reading her name. I felt done. Life moved on. Slowly, painfully, but it did. I sold that house a few months later. Too many memories embedded in the walls. Got a new place closer to work. Smaller. Quieter. Some nights I still think about that party, about the exact second I opened that door and saw everything fall apart. It's strange how your life can shatter in one heartbeat, yet somehow, that same moment can set you free. Because if I hadn't thrown that party, I might have never found out. I might have kept living in a lie, convincing myself everything was fine. Now, I'm actually fine. A few weeks ago, I ran into Maya, another friend of Lena's, at a grocery store. She looked uncomfortable, but after some small talk, she told me something unexpected. Lena's back with her parents, she said. She's been trying to start over. No social media, no photography, nothing. I nodded. Good for her. Maya tilted her head. You really forgive her? I thought for a moment. Not forgive, I said. Just stopped caring. She smiled sadly. You were good to her. She knows that. Maybe, I said. But sometimes people don't value things until they break them. That night, I poured myself a drink, sat on my balcony, and thought about how strange life is. We always imagine betrayal as something loud, yelling, doors slamming, dramatic endings. But in reality, it's quiet. It's the sound of a drawer closing on the last of their things. The silence of a bed that feels too big. The way your own house starts to sound foreign. And then one day, without realizing it, you wake up, and the silence doesn't hurt anymore. It just is. I threw a party once to celebrate a promotion. Instead, I watched my world collapse. But that night didn't destroy me. It stripped me down. It showed me who I was when everything fake fell away. So, yeah, I caught them. And for a long time, I thought that was the worst thing that ever happened to me. Now I know it was the best, because catching them wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of finally writing my own.